What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you stopping by. Today is Wednesday, August 19th, and we are going to go ahead and continue on with our journey chasing $2 million, trying to take down BBM7. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I guess real quick before we jump into it, do want to just point out here that they did drop another tournament today. The Hound Dog 2 has been released by Underdog. This is a, I guess, medium size tournament, 18,600 entrants in this one. This is a $6 entry, 10 entry max, and it's 20,000 up top. You get a total of 10, as I mentioned, and then the advancement structure is 4 out of 12. So a third of the first pod makes it out. 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5, but you got a 992 seat final. So don't like this large, very large seat final, if you will. But that one's out there. I might tap into that today, depending on how long I stream. But we're going to kick this one off with a BBM. The other news of the day, and it's big news, is that Jaden Higgins, wide receiver 2 for the Houston Texans, it's reported that he has a torn ACL. Now, this was a player that I have been drafting across all tournaments. BBM, puppies, you name it. I was overweight Higgins. I went ahead and looked at my portfolio, and, obviously it's not good when you have a player out for the season with a torn ACL. But I will say, if there is one positive on my builds in particular, there were only a couple that were 7 wide receiver builds. So most of them were 8 wide receiver builds. I think that's going to help a little bit with those teams still having a chance to advance. And then in addition to that, most of my Higgins builds did have Nico. I had like either a Jalen Knoll on there, or I included somebody like Tank Dell. A lot of those teams also had Dalton Schultz as well. So a combination of other pass catchers on the Houston Texans, I think, will help keep those teams from being completely dead. The news isn't great, obviously, but I think the way that I constructed those rosters should help keep them alive. And, we've seen a couple of the winning Best Ball Mania teams have guys like Isaiah Pacheco. Last year, Sherman, had Mooney, I think it was in like the 8th round, right? And so you're always going to have dead roster spots. But those teams can still advance. Not good news, obviously, but I don't think it's like a death knell to any of your rosters that have them, assuming you've got other pass catchers in the Houston offense. Those are 8 wide receiver builds. I think you're going to be okay on a lot of those teams if you were drafting Jaden Higgins like I was. And I think at his cost in the 130s, again, this isn't like a top, like a top 6 round, top 8 round player. You were getting him generally in the 130s. So, I think for those reasons, if you had Higgins on some of your builds, I think you'll probably be okay. Lower advance rate, obviously, but those teams are not dead in my opinion. Now, with that being said, we'll go ahead and continue on our journey here, chasing $2 million. We're going to enter a BBM, $25 entry, and 150 entry max. Of course, as we all know, it's 2 million up top here for BBM. We're going to get into it right now. Get a little music on. So my plan is to do a couple of these along with maybe a Hound Dog, depending on how long I'm going to stream for. I didn't see any other tournaments drop quite yet, but I did see the Hound Dog 2. So maybe it's just some just to get 1 or 2 in there. I don't anticipate maxing that tournament by any stretch, especially with a 900 plus seat final. But I do think it could be a fun, a fun tournament to get at least a couple in. Price wise, $18 per entry seems reasonable. All right, we're ready to go. Again, if you're coming in late, appreciate you stopping by the channel. Thanks for the support. If you haven't already, smash that like button. And if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. Help us grow the channel. Trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the summer. Currently at 41. Trying to hit 50. If we blow past 50, then the next goal is 100. So spread the word. Help us grow. You guys are enjoying this content. So this one, we're coming out of the 8 slot. I also hadn't clicked Higgins for a while. I think that was mostly because I was on the other side of the board for a lot of my recent BBMs. I did take him with Sus on our Monday episode, but before that, I think the last time was like early August, and then it was once or twice in July, and then a lot of my early builds had him. So, I'm coping a little bit. All right, we are ready to go. We're off and running here in this first BBM. Pretty standard start. We'll see if there's any surprises here in the first round, and then we'll kind of just take it from there. So far, so good. All right, here comes the first one. Happy Amigos pulls up Ashton Genty at 5. So we have Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Puka, and then here at 5, Happy Amigos pulling up Ashton Genty. JSN slips to 6. And then we have our choice of Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This one's pretty easy for me. I'm going to go ahead and grab St. Brown. I think you could go with either of those two. My portfolio is overweight Jonathan Taylor by just a smidge, so trying to get that down. And I would like to get my St. Brown exposure up just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and click St. Brown here at pick 8. Again, this is BBM. $2 million up top, $1 million to second, $500,000 to third. And bragging rights for a long time if you take this one down. After I took Brown here at 8, we had Taylor go off at 9, Lamb at 10, Cook at 11, and Jefferson at 12. We do get the Hampton pull up here to 13. So we'll see what that opens up for some of the other running backs here at 17 when I'll be on the clock next. Walker goes at 14, 2 away. And let's see what our options are going to be. Can take Devon Achane or Derrick Henry. I like both of these. I think the last one I did with Achane. So why don't we grab Henry for this one? We'll start off Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry for our first 2 picks here in our first BBM of the day. Always feel good about this start. Like I said, my last one I did with St. Brown, I did with Achane. So, just want to mix up some exposures here. I'm at 8%, 8.9%. For both those guys. I have, I guess just say 9% for Achane and 9% for Henry. In terms of pairings with St. Brown, I'd have to dig into that a little bit, but I know I've done both in my BBM build, so just kind of going back and forth, mixing it up. Let's take a quick look. St. Brown and Derrick Henry. I have 3 of these so far in BBM, and St. Brown and Achane. Let's see. I have 3 of those as well. So it's been a pretty even split with my Brown, Henry, Brown, Achane pairings. The last one I took McBride. It was St. Brown, Henry, and McBride. They're at 32. I'll probably mix this one up because I don't want to, I want to get some different pairings in these first few rounds. I guess it depends on what's on the board and what's available. But probably get off of the McBride pick if he's there. He's not even there in this one, so we'll see what we have. I would probably prioritize Smith, Zay. Those would probably be my first 2. And then I also like the idea of getting T here, just because we're into that game. Okay, Smith goes. So let's go ahead and take T on this one. Yeah, let's take T. I think that'll be fun. Maybe get a pairing, because I don't have an Amon-Ra St. Brown T Higgins pairing yet with Derrick Henry. I do have the Amon-Ra St. Brown Derrick Henry Zay Flowers. So this is, I think you go either way there, but give me T on this one. And we're off to kind of a hero build here. We've got St. Brown at 8, Derrick Henry at 17, and T Higgins here at 32. We're on the clock again at 41. Thinking through what I would like to do here. I mean, I think Jacobs is a good click, and I also, we could go with one of these wide receivers. I also think ETN, if you guys heard the news on Alvin Kamara, he's going to be out for at least a month, maybe longer, with a knee injury. MCL, I think it is. All right, I think I want to go, it's either Jacobs or ETN on this one. I think I want to go ETN. Maybe that's crazy, but I think that Alvin Kamara is washed, and now he's washed and injured. So I'm going to just take this pairing, and we're going to start off balanced here. Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and T Higgins. Pretty balanced start here for this first BBM. If you guys are watching this from X, click on the YouTube link in my bio, head on over to YouTube and watch it from there. You can engage in the comments, ask any questions you may have, and then also help me out, smash that subscribe button, and then hit that like too if you haven't done that. Help us grow the channel. We have the 1v1 here with T Higgins and Derrick Henry for week 17, and then St. Brown, he's just a badass. And then I need to get a little bit more Travis Etienne. I think this is a good spot maybe to do it. with the injury to Alvin Kamara. As I mentioned, he'll be out at least a month. But on top of that, he's already an incredibly inefficient rusher, combined with the fact that, you know, he's going to be coming back and he's injured. He was okay in the receiving game, but I wasn't clicking him a lot. Good excuse here to get ETN. Start of the 5th round, picking here at 56 and then again at 65. Just trying to think of what I want to do in this spot. I mean, if one of these pass catchers up here fall back, Moore, Adams, Evans, I like those options. We could go Lamar. I also like the idea of pulling up like a Parker Washington here. If he makes it back to us at 56, I do like Parker for this year. We have Rome if we wanted to do the 1v1 with St. Brown, but I think I like Christian Watson more than that. And then obviously, like I said, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams up here. Kind of interesting. I'm thinking of grabbing Burrow on the way back. I mean, Lamar here is also interesting at 55. I'm going to go Parker. Let's go Parker Washington. That kind of opens up the T-Law and Joe Burrow quarterbacks pairing, and then you could stop at 2. I don't know. I think I need to get a little bit more Parker Washington. Figured this would be a good spot to do it. I think you could go Jackson there. We don't have Zay. I passed up on Zay on this one for T. Now we could consolidate with like Henry and Jackson. Oops, excuse me. But I don't think it's like necessary. I think there's a decent chance we get Burrow back. This guy took Jackson with Zay. Is he going to come back right away and take Burrow with Chase Brown? I'm going to bet he's not. Now he might, but I'm going to gamble that he won't. And then I'll probably grab Burrow here at 65, assuming he's there. And that's, you know, Burrow to T with the Derrick Henry bring back for week 17. Again, he might take him. That's pretty early, and it's you know, stacking him up with a running back. If he's gone, you know, we have Marv here, we have BTJ. I would go with that. But let's grab Burrow. And quick recap of this team. So Joe Burrow at quarterback, running backs, Derrick Henry and Travis Etienne, wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, and Parker Washington. And still waiting for our first tight end on the clock here again at 80, and then again at 89. We don't have any Jacksonville pass catchers to our right. So we could try to push T-Law back here to 89. I have, unless this guy wants to pull T-Law up to 79, I kind of have position on the other players in the room that have Jacksonville receivers. So I would try to get T-Law back here at 89 to stack up with Parker. And then at 80, we'll just have to kind of see what value's on the board. That's a thought that I have in terms of how I might want to play this. Because we have Tootin over here at 48, and then we have BTJ over here at 66. So it's going to be, there's a reasonable chance we could get him back at 89. Now, could somebody just take him unstacked for now and then try to backstack him with Hunter and Brenton Strange? Like, that's definitely a possibility. But I would kind of roll the dice there. I think Pollard here or Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft would be interesting. Jaden Reed would be interesting. Those are the two names that stand out for me. This is an ugly range. Yeah, we have Tucker Kraft up here. Let's go Tucker Kraft. We'll grab him at pick 80. And then we're going to try to get T-Law on the way back. If T-Law is not there, we'll probably grab like a Rico as like a backup. So just kind of how I'm playing this. But we are, again, picking at 89. And we'll either have somebody take T-Law unstacked to our right, or we're going to grab him here at 89 because he's not coming back to 104. And Clibretto took Tyson here at 79. He hasn't moved down the board yet with the injury news. What's up, Hartman? Good to see you in here, buddy. Hartman says, R.I.P. Higgins. Yeah, I was just talking about that at the Open. I looked out over my teams, and fortunately, the way I built him, I only had him on 3-7 wide receiver builds. All my other teams, I had him as an 8 wide receiver. And then the teams where I did have him on 7, I think there was only like one where I didn't have another Houston pass catcher. So I do think I'll absorb that relatively well. I don't think obviously it's not good news, but I feel pretty fortunate with how my teams, how I built them on my teams. I feel like I got a little lucky there. But of course, not good news. I was overweight Higgins. Yeah, I was Hartman asked what my exposure was. I was like north of, it was like 15-16%. Now obviously as I fill out the rest of my BBM, it'll come down probably closer to like 11%. But what is that? 11 out of, what's 11% of 150? I don't even know what that is. It's going to be close to like 18 teams or something like that. Even more than that. Yeah, I think it's like 19 teams. But like I said, of those teams, most of them are 8 wide receiver builds. A lot of them, a good number of them had Nico. Some of them had Tank, Schultz, and Monty. So there was only a couple where I took him as just like a standalone piece. And I also had him on a lot of 8 wide receiver builds. So not good news by any stretch of the imagination. But as a pick in the 130s, it's probably better, than like the Pearsall news, just because of the price you were paying for him. Combine that with, 8 wide receivers. A good number of those had Trey Tucker. So Trey Tucker, stay healthy for me, brother, because I'm counting on a lot of his upside there in the 150s. So I think I'll be okay. I was certainly bummed when I heard the news today. But what are you going to do? So here it's either Pittman or JCM. I think on this particular build, I want to grab... Okay, Pittman goes anyways. Never mind. That took a second for that to come in. We're gonna go JCM here. Mix him in. He's the bring back to my Jacksonville stack here. And this build is as follows. We have Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Probably stop at 2, but could add a third late. Running backs are Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, and JCM. Wide receivers are St. Brown, T. Higgins, and Parker Washington. And we have a Tucker Kraft here as our tight end. And this is a BBM if you guys are coming in late. Harbin says, in his range, you can eat a 0 for sure, and it's fortunate you built them that way. Yeah, I do feel pretty fortunate with my roster construction. I think there's really only like 2 or 3 teams that I looked at where I'm like, okay, these teams are probably dead, because it was like 7 wide receivers and just kind of how I constructed it. But I think the large majority still have a chance. It's obviously not good news, but I don't think those teams are just like outright dead at this point. All right, we could go Wendell or Jacoby. I think on this particular build, I want to kind of shoot for some upside here. And I'm going to grab the cover boy, KC Concepcion. We're going to add him here. I feel like, Parker might be a little bit more of like a, he can spike, of course, but could be more of like a floor play. I just kind of want a rookie with some upside built into this room. And so I'm going to grab KC Concepcion here at 113. Add to that room. It was kind of between him and Wendell, but I'm just going to swing for that rookie upside here. I like what I saw from him so far in preseason. I liked him as a prospect coming out from South Carolina. Just a completely dynamic player. He kind of feels a little bit Zay Flowerish to me in terms of his profile. Move him all over the formation, Swiss Army knife type of player. DBs can't tackle him to save their lives. So it's really just a texture thing here and how I see him in this room. But adding KC as our 4th, and then back on the clock here, coming up on, where are we at? Pick 128, 137 are my next 2 picks. Could have went Myers and taken like the double. Didn't really want to do that. Stribling there at 115, that's reasonable based on where he's been repriced. And then again, Robinson, but he kind of feels a little Parker Washington-ish to me in terms of their like profiles. So KC is kind of like the big swing, shoot for the fences type of profile. Do not draft Jaden Higgins. PSA to anyone listening, do not draft Jaden Higgins. He suffers a torn ACL in practice. He is out for the year. I need to actually get my ranks uploaded and take him off so he doesn't become a misclick here, because that would suck. Now we are getting a huge fall here on Kyler. I wasn't thinking of taking a 3rd, but that's a pretty damn good price on him. Starting to wonder if I should take him here. Could also take Love on a big fall. It's probably more than I need, but Love at 127 stacked up with Kraft. I guess I'm going to do that. I don't like what else is in this range. I'm probably pulling up. I could take Debo there, but we'll just get extra strong here at quarterback. I'm done now at quarterback. Without the stack, I'm not just taking an unstacked Jordan Love, but Love with Kraft at 12 picks of value here. I think I can absorb that. And then we're just gonna, we're gonna keep this to probably a 2 tight end build now at this point. And we'll go like 3-5-8-2 or 3-5. Yeah, probably like a 3-5-8-2. We'll see. I don't want to decide the build before we're there, but something to think about. Here, I like grabbing Boston goes. I was going to say we have Goddard and Andrews. We have Chig as a bring back. I could get into one more running back here. I think this might be a good spot to grab a running back. I like Woody. He could be an indirect beneficiary of that news because he's involved in the passing game. So they're going to have to find other ways to, throw the ball to other people. Dell is obviously out for at least some time. I know he's in doing individual drills at this point. Debo, if he's here though, if Debo makes it back, I'll take Debo. Debo's not here. I probably go one of these running backs. I take Keaton Mitchell or Woody Marks. All right, I'm going to go gonna go with Woody, I think, on this one. Yeah, let's go Woody Marks. I think he's gonna be involved. He's already gonna be involved in the passing game, and I think it's gonna be he may get even more now. So we'll grab him here, and then we'll be back in a range where I like the wide receivers more. I think that's kind of a little bit of a tier break for running backs. So we grab our 4th running back there. And then this range I think is better for wide receivers. So we'll be looking to add wide receivers here at 152 and 156. Maybe even 3 wide receivers in a row. We'll just have to kind of see how this this build plays out. But I could see just going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, something like that. It's a good range that we're getting into here. I like a lot of these names in here, whether it's Jalen McMillan, Trey Tucker, Cooper to some extent, Trey Harris, big time Trey Harris this year, 2nd-year breakout. Jacoby Lane, he fits this build a little bit because we're consolidating into our Cincinnati-Baltimore bet. So I could see Lane as a candidate on this build. Lots of good wide receiver options coming up here. I could have went Mitchell there too. I think both of these guys are fine, but I'm thinking, Woody, his role is going to be a pass catching 3rd down back. With Higgins out now, they're going to have to maybe try to find other ways to pass the ball. And even though it might just be a small bump, I think Woody Marks could sort of indirectly benefit from this Higgins injury. These guys both have 6 wide receivers, so we'll see what they decide to do here. We have Travis Hunter kind of staring us in the face right here. We also have Tucker and Trey Harris. I like all 3 of these guys. I think on this particular build, I think I want to go Trey Tucker. I like Hunter, but he falls a lot in drafts, and I think there's a chance he could come back. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't necessarily want to chase down like the double, and I'm not sold on his production and what his role is going to be yet. I think because I started off a little late and a little light here, I'd rather take a guy who's a dedicated wide receiver versus somebody who is going to get some playing time, but I'm not exactly sure how much. So I think it's just a slightly safer pick here to grab Trey Tucker. And then be looking at Trey Harris, Wicks, Lane. I think all those guys I would be interested in here at the next turn. Schultz is also a guy that's probably going to move up on this Higgins news because they're going to need to find other pass catchers. He's also a bring back to my Green Bay pieces here. I'm trying to think of the order that I would want to put this in. If I get Schultz, I'm stopping at 2, and then I can dedicate the rest of this build to wide receivers and 1 more running back. So maybe if Schultz makes it back, I take Schultz, and then we go, wide receivers and a running back at the end. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take advantage of this Higgins news and grab some of the other pass catchers in that offense. Try to get some pieces before their prices potentially rise. I do have the game stack here. We have Jordan Love to Tucker Kraft with the Dalton Schultz and Woody Marks bring backs for week 17. I can stop at 2. I'm comfortable stopping at 2 on a build like this with Tucker Kraft and Schultz. I know, they're talking about Kraft being on a little bit of a snap count to start the season, but right now, Schultz is going to be an immediate beneficiary of this Higgins news. So he could start off a little bit hotter, kind of buoy the points here in the tight end room until Kraft really gets it going and they unleash him, take off, where he's no longer on the snap count. So I'm good with these 2 because I chose to take Love here when I probably didn't need him, but I got the slide. I feel like the sacrifice is probably a 3rd tight end on this build. So we're going to use the rest of these picks What do we got? We have 4 left. We'll probably go 3 wide receivers and a running back. Not sure if I want to click Tank Dell. I know he could also benefit from this. Right now, he's sort of working back at his own pace. I mean, by the end of the year, could he be something? I just don't know if it's gonna, you know, I don't know. I feel like I need more immediate production with this wide receiver room. Maybe that's just a personal thought. Pat Bryant, Malik Washington. If Washington goes, we have Flournoy here. Who do I want? Why don't we go Pat? I think I want to go Pat on this one. Patty Ice, welcome to the squad. Let me go out to the best ball zone real quick here on Fantasy Fitness. One of the best apps on the market. I'm just kidding. It is a good one, but I'm just messing with you guys. I'm looking at the championship weeks. I know that we have the 1v1 with the Raiders and the Broncos week 15, which is the hardest week to get out of here in BBM. Broncos also play Bills, New England. Just seeing what other, if any other correlation exists. We've got Caleb Douglas down here, who's been all the buzz lately. They play Green Bay week 15, so that plays well with my Green Bay stack if I were to get like Douglas here. No Chargers pieces, but something to consider. If those guys are gone, I'm looking at, I don't know, there's some other names here, but it is thinning out, certainly. Here's the null pull up. That's something we're going to obviously start to see pretty quickly here. He gets pulled up to 181. And I do like that click, and it's probably the right range for him if you think about it. Two away. All right, I'm going to go grab another rookie here. I'll take Zachariah Branch. I think he's had a decent camp. You know, don't mind grabbing another rookie here. And then stopping at 2 with Branch and KC. I think those are, you know, those are fine clicks. Here back here at 185, you know, he probably has a little bit of upside. And then we're going to try to get into, I know I like Vele. I think he fits this build pretty nice. If we could get Vele, he's still on the board when we get back. And just kind of looking through these wide receivers. Yeah, I'd say Vele, and then we grab one more running back, and we call it a day on this first build. 3-4-7-2 at the moment. Joe Burrow, T-Law, and Jordan Love. Probably didn't need Love here, but I picked him because he falls to 128, and I had the craft piece. Running backs, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, JCM, and Woody Marks. Wide receivers, St. Brown, Higgins, Parker, Casey Concepcion, Trey Tucker, Pat Bryant, and Zachariah Branch. Okay, Vele goes, and then we have Tucker Craft, and Dalton Schultz here. So I'm kind of buying Schultz as a major beneficiary of the Higgins news. Maybe a little bit for Woody here as a pass-catching running back. I don't mind clicking Ridley. I don't really like the click, but I don't think it's a bad click. I also think Bateman here makes sense on this one. So if Bateman makes it back, I think I would click him. I don't have the stack with Lamar, but I do have the bring back with those Cincinnati pieces. So he's on the table here as a click if he makes it back. Otherwise, I'd probably go Ridley. Yeah, let's go Bateman. He'll be our final wide receiver. And then we're going to end this with a running back, Kalen Black, potentially. Justice Hill, Kalen Black. It's pretty sparse back here. Nicholas Singleton, he's okay. Or maybe we grab Najee. Maybe Najee something. I don't think he'll necessarily be anything, but I don't mind clicking him as like a last round dart throw. Maybe we take Najee. Who do the Giants play? I'm just curious. Okay, they get Cleveland week 15, Detroit, and Dallas. We have two of those pieces for weeks 15 and 16 with our Concepcion and our St. Brown pieces. So I don't know. I know BBM. I know the DK Millie winner, Castro, Felix Castro. I could be messing up his name. If I am, apologies in advance. He is drafting the dog crap out of Najee Harris, you know, and he's a DK Millie winner. So I'm, you know, when I see things like that, somebody who's had success and done it before, I have to perk up a little bit at that idea. Kalen Black, I think it's between these two. I don't know. I don't want to get a Najee share if he's there. Just for shits and giggles. Let's do it. Well, hell yeah, let's go. This is a vibes pick. So we're going Najee here at the very end. He does help us with some correlation right here with my Concepcion piece and then my St. Brown piece weeks 15 and 16. So late Najee piece. This tournament is also almost 70% full, and I don't know how much he's been getting clicked. He'll be a lower ownership piece almost certainly. But let's review the team. 3-5-8-2. We have Joe Burrow, T-Law, and Jordan Love. That's, I think, just an absolute powerhouse quarterback room. Running backs, we have Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, JCM. So 3 starters in their respective backfields. We have the injury now to Alvin Kamara, who's already been inefficient, hasn't been good for a long time. If he's good anywhere, it's in the receiving game. And he's got the MCL issue that he's dealing with. So I think that boosts Etienne a little bit here. And then we have Woody Marks, maybe a slight bump for him with some of the news on Higgins today. I know that they don't play the same position, but he's a pass catching running back. So they're going to have to find other ways to just move the ball. And then we have Najee here as just a late click. He finally signs with the Giants and he gives me correlation in weeks 15 and 16 with Concepcion and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Wide receiver room, St. Brown, Higgins, Parker, Washington, Casey Concepcion, Trey Tucker, Pat Bryant, Zachariah Branch, and Rashad Bateman. I like that 8. I think 8's the correct amount because we go anchor up top, get kind of a second. I wouldn't necessarily call him an anchor, but you know, a premium asset here on a good offense. Parker, who's I anticipate is going to get a lot of catches this year. We'll see how he does in the touchdown category. Casey Concepcion is our big upside swing. Trey Tucker, Pat Bryant, Zachariah Branch, and Rashad Bateman. And then we go Tucker Kraft and Dalton Schultz, who should also be a beneficiary of this Higgins news. So in the end, we have Burrow to Higgins with the Henry Bateman bringbacks for week 17. Whoops. We have T-Law to Parker with the JCM bringback for week 17. And then we have Jordan Love, who like I said, I probably didn't need, but at 128, having already clicked Tucker Kraft, I couldn't pass that up. We take Love to Tucker Craft. And then we have Schultz and Woody as our bring back there for week 17. And then, as I mentioned, week 15 correlation here, 1v1 with Tucker and Bryant. And then with Najee, we have 15 for Concepcion and 16 for St. Brown, RB to wide receiver correlation. And 1v1 here with Zachariah Branch and Travis Etienne. So feeling pretty good about this one. So Mike, Rob, and Hartman both mentioned here, I think I said it, but I'll just address their comments, that Najee was the one who helped them win that millie. So yeah, just for the vibes, for the correlation. I know this year he's been drafting him a lot too. So we're going Najee Harris here at pick 209. All right, we're going in for another one. Let's jump into the lobby. We are 21 days, 5 hours, and 57 minutes away from kickoff. I've got 25 BBMs left. I've been pacing around 1 a day. And my goal is to take it basically down to the day before kickoff, or whenever, as the tournament's closing, and just play it. I did my first draft opening weekend and been pacing myself about 1 a day and continuing to maintain that pace until we're right towards the end of the fill. I assume this tournament's gonna fill. I know they're behind. They're a little behind where they anticipate being or where they've been in years past. But 70%, I think people will really kind of pick it up here. They did drop another tournament today, the Hound Dog. I probably will do that one after this, just to get 1 or 2 Hound Dogs in. I don't like the final size. The advancement structure is super soft, but you end up with like a 997 seat final, which, that's worse than like the puppy. And this one should be fun. We have Justin Herzig in here at 4. So we get a draft against one of the GOATs at the 104. That always gets my attention. And we're on stream, so this will be fun. I don't recognize any of the other names in here, but we do have Herzig here at 4, and we'll be drafting at 8 in this one. Should be a good time. Again, appreciate you guys all stopping by the channel. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me, help us grow. And if you're not subscribed here or you're listening on Twitter, head over to YouTube and smash that subscribe button for me. Help me grow the channel on YouTube as well. Trying to get to 50 subscribers. That's the next goal, and then we'll reassess after we hit 50. All right, here we go. BBM7. What would be better than just winning this tournament would be advancing out of a pod with Justin Herzig, then advancing to the finals and then winning, because at that point, nobody can say like, oh, that was just luck or, whatever. Like, you had to beat the GOAT to get, you had to beat the best to be the best. So we're going to do that. We're going to beat the best to be the best. I don't know if this guy's autoing or he can't make up his mind or what, but he ends up taking Taylor. So I guess we'll end up with another St. Brown share here. I'm not taking Lamb or Cook or any of these guys over St. Brown. Absolutely not. Hartman asks, is last round Knoll on the menu now? I would say like 17th round Knoll is on the menu now. Maybe potentially 16th round Knoll at this point. I mean, he was a decent prospect coming out of Iowa State. He was involved in special teams. He flashed a little bit last year. You know, he was a guy that people were targeting in like dynasty leagues because he had a pretty good profile. Now that Higgins is out, he's certainly going to have a role. I know he's been battling some injuries, but I have to imagine he's going to move up a few rounds. 16, 17, 18. I think 18th round for sure. Now, last one we just did Henry. This one, I'll either pick Barkley or Henry again. I don't think I'm going to take Hampton. No, I'm not going to take Hampton over these two guys. Yeah, no. I could get off of that and go like AJ Brown or something like that, but I'm just going to run it back. We'll just get a slightly different build than the last one. I like doing this. I don't mind drafting, you know, if I like a player and I don't have a ton of these combos, like, you know, I'll get this again because the rest of my roster is going to be entirely different. So the fact that it starts out the same really doesn't matter because, you know, further down the board, you're going to get an entirely different team. So I can't take Hampton over Henry. I just can't do it. Maybe I should, but not today. Hartman asks that he got the 7th pick in his non-PPR home leagues. Is Henry reasonable? Top 4 RBs are Cook and Chase. Chase were gone. I think in a home league, it's fine. You know, I mean, it's just you and your 11 buddies. I think it's fine. I mean, I know on like Yahoo, I think he goes in like the early second, but depending on what else is there, if you're saying Chase and Cook, I'm probably taking Henry there in a home league. I get why those guys would go higher in like BBM, you know, but not necessary in a home league. This guy gets Nico at 24. I'm a little surprised that Herzig didn't take Nico with the news about Higgins in that spot. He ends up opting for London. So that's, you know, I'm just making a mental note of this. He is one of the best. And the fact that he took London is just something I'm making note of. Henry, Puka, or Genti? I would go Puka. I would go Puka at 7 if he's there. And then try to, you know, what running backs are available in the second. But Puka at 7 in a home league? I know it's non-PPR, but it's close between Puka and Henry. I guess Genti, you can make a case, but I don't know. I don't know if I would take the risk in a home league with Genti. I feel like the other two guys are safer. Herzig on the way back grabs Kyron. Okay. So no concerns about Kyron at that spot. Last time I did T. This time I'm going to go Zay. So we're going to mix it up here and go Henry, St. Brown, and Zay. Last one was Henry, St. Brown, and T. So kind of just mixing it up. Non-PPR, home league, I don't know. I'm leaning Henry or Puka there, but Puka sounds pretty good. I know it's non-PPR, but still, I think he could just be a smash at that spot. Looking here at Herzig's build, though, he goes double wide receiver up top, Puka and London. He opts not to take Nico, even on the Higgins news, over London, and then comes back and gets Kyron here at 28. Again, that's Justin Herzig, BBM1 winner. And I am drafting next to an Emerald badge here, JJB 2386. So this guy has, I think, over 20,000 drafts. I know it could be dailies, all sorts of things, right? Doesn't mean it's 20 football drafts, but he has a boatload of experience. I mean, I don't like these there're not a ton of great options here. I mean, Josh Allen coming back. I want the Lamar stack, but I guess there's no guarantee I'm going to get it. If Allen is here, I have to at least consider that. Or do I go Travis Etienne again? I don't. Man, Josh Allen at 41. That's pretty damn. You know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, as I like to say. If you have it and it's sitting there and I can't guarantee myself that I'm going to get Lamar back, right? Because he could go earlier and then I don't get the stack, but they're going to drop Josh Allen in my lap here at 41. My other options are Waddle, ETN. I don't know. On this particular one, I think I'm going to go. I think I want Josh Allen here. Oh, Mike Rob, I love it. I will. I'm gonna not comment. That's personal. That's personal information. But we're kind of building out a hero here. But we get the elite. You know, the best quarterback in the league, certainly for fantasy purposes, probably in real life as well. Josh Allen here. I think he's gonna have a monster season. There's a chance that we get more back here. We're far enough over where I do see more here at 56. So if he's here, I'm going to click DJ Moore, and then we'll see what we want to do for our next running back. But no guarantees that Lamar was going to be there. And then if he's not there, then I don't necessarily like my other options. So we do get Josh Allen. I don't have a ton of him in BBM, but on this particular one, I could see doing like a Josh Allen Goff stack and being done at 2. So I kind of like the idea of just getting that pairing. And here it is, right? There was no guarantee I was getting him back. He's gone at 53. So I'm glad I took him there. Bucky, Travion, or I grab Christian Watson here. I think, or Parker Washington, but I think this one, I'll go Bucky. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. And then we'll see. I'll probably I'm going to grab a wide receiver with this next pick, almost certainly, or Tyler Warren. Could also grab like Jadarian Price. I think it's going to be one of these guys. We'll see what wide receivers make it back, if any make it back. But I think we'll have a good pick here. Could also go. I'm fine with Marv. Any of these wide receivers, Price or Warren. Price goes. But yeah, that's exactly why I took Josh Allen. There were absolutely no guarantees I was getting Lamar back. He didn't come back. And I wasn't going to get the stack anyways. The options, I don't think, fit the build as well. So here, I'm going to go Tyler Warren. I think he could be a smash this year. I know he didn't have any like ceiling games last year, but the gap between him and Loveland is a little puzzling to me. We have Loveland going over here at 38 on this one. I know that's not necessarily a staple of him, but a two-round gap between these guys feels, more than 2 rounds, like 2+. There's something that doesn't feel right about that. So Warren here at 65, I like him here. We've locked up an elite quarterback. We've locked up an elite tight end. We've got balanced start here at running back and balanced at wide receiver. So I don't see any weakness on this team. Maybe you can take a shot at Bucky here, but outside of Bucky, I think every position group has an elite onesie. In Allen, Henry, St. Brown, and Warren, or not an elite onesie. You know what I meant. An elite first player in that position group. I said that wrong. But yeah, I mean, you show up to the finals and you're going up against Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, St. Brown, and Tyler Warren. I like my chances. Now this range stinks. I think I wouldn't mind pulling up Rico here. I mean, there's Pollard as well. I like Pollard and Rico. Those are the two that are kind of coming to mind. I could take Hurts on a fall, but I don't know that I want to do that. I guess I could try to get Hurts and come back and get Lemon, but I think I'd rather take Rico here if he's here. This guy's got 4 running backs. I don't want Tyson. I don't want Kraft because I already have my elite. You know, Lemon's okay. Herbert doesn't make sense. So as we just sort of work ourselves down, it's either, Hurts or Rico. But with this particular player already on my team, it sucks passing on him here. But I just don't know how he helps this roster as much as like another running back. And I could be wrong there. This guy obviously grabs them, stacks them up with Saquon. I hate passing on him there, and I know that's a ridiculous price, but I don't know. I'm thinking about the totality of this build, and I just don't necessarily love it. I'd rather stack up St. Brown with Goff here and get Rico. Now all the pressure's off in this running back room. We've got our anchor here in St. Brown. We got Zay. We got our elite in Warren and Allen. So yeah, that does feel wrong. I'll admit it. It feels wrong passing on Hurts there. But just for this build, I just don't love it. I think here I'm Addison. I could go Laporta and do kind of 2 elites and stop, but I like the idea of grabbing Addison here and getting our 3rd wide receiver. Stay balanced. Yeah, interesting the way the board fell there. But we're going to grab Jordan Addison here at 89. Little too early for me on Pierce with the injury news. Kraft, if I wanted to go double elite tight end, but I don't love those builds and they don't have very high success rates. So I don't know. You can do it, and I've done it on occasion, but on this particular one, I wanted to go ahead and grab a 3rd wide receiver, and that's Addison. That also does leave the option of adding either Jared Goff or Kyler Murray, both of which would be a good 2 in your stop type of play there at 113. So, I kind of open up if Goff goes for whatever reason, then I have, or if I wanted to just take Kyler Murray over Goff, I could do that. So yeah, I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. Hartman asks, am I going to do any of the first quarter contest? I definitely want to check it out. After I do this build, I'm going to do another one, but I probably won't do another BBM. So I'm going to look at the I'm going to look at first quarter, and then I'm going to look at the Hound Dog 2, and I'll probably get into one of those two builds here. Let's see what Herzig is up to. He went Puka, London, came back and got Kyler, grabbed Swift and JMO for the 1v1, grabs Daniels. He's talked about Daniels all offseason when I've heard some of his streams. It's one of his favorite quarterback clicks. Grabs Diggs for the Daniels stack. He has Laporta too to go in with his Swift JMO bet. Man, interesting spot. We could go Manungai and buy that, or we could grab Bannon or Pitts. Kind of like the idea of grabbing Pitts and stopping at 2 here. Just Pitts and Warren sounds really fun pairing. You have maybe more of a floor play here with Warren and a guy that's super inconsistent but could have like a major spike week. So I'm 2 and I'm done here. And then I like Goff or Kyler on the way back. That was a tricky spot. I really didn't love anything. I thought about JCM too, but I already have the 3. So I opted for the slightly cheaper double elite instead of going like Kraft. I picked up Addison and then got Pitts. So, but now the bye weeks work out great. I don't have to take another tight end on this build, and I can focus on the other position groups. And here I'll have a choice of Jared Goff or Kyler. I think we just take Goff. We stack him up. I also don't want to give him back to Justin Herzig because he's got JMO and Sam Laporta. So sorry, GOAT, not on my watch. Last thing I want is Justin Herzig coming out of here with Sam Laporta, JMO, and a Swift bringback. Hell no. Maybe that's a little gamesmanship, but I like it. It works out well for me, and it weakens his team at the same time. So double whammy on that one. He can take an unstacked Kyler Murray or grab Matthew Stafford because he has Puka, which he does. He set that up pretty nice, though, because he gave himself like 2 outs. He did the double here, and then he had the double thing here with the Lions. So, I think that's pretty sharp drafting on his part because he kind of gave himself 2 ways to guarantee himself stacks. Now, back in this range, I would be wide receiver. I think, we could get in on some stribs if we wanted to do that. I'd also be okay with Debo. We could grab Shakir here. He would be a stack. I don't take a lot of Shakir, but I think I would entertain it here. And of course, I love Shaheed. I don't need another quarterback on this build, and I don't need another tight end. So the rest of the way, we're going to be just slamming running backs and wide receivers. And I mean, you can try to give me Kyler here at 127. I'm not going to bite. I need to just get stronger and stronger at these other position groups. I'm betting on Josh Allen. I don't need a bet on Kyler here. Now, if he falls like 2 rounds, then okay. But I mean, I have 2 good options here, and I'm not going to pass up these guys. Now, Debo and Shaheed, I think it's pretty close, but we'll go Debo here. I know the guy to my right has some Philly pieces, so maybe that hurts his team a little bit. He ends up going Ferguson. He's light. He's got Lamb, Watson, but he's into that Philly San Francisco bet. I also think we have a better chance of getting Shaheed back. And then if Shaheed's not there, I think Boston would be pretty sick on this one. Could also get Keaton Mitchell, Woody Marks. I do like those bets. This guy double taps Shaheed Darnold at the turn. So he locks up that stack. I would say if Boston's gone, he doesn't take Boston. So I'm going to take Boston. I think I want a wide receiver here more than I want one of these running backs, although it's close. I think having gotten Rico, I feel better about pushing it. I think these three, you can kind of stop for a minute. But let's recap this team real quick. It's a 2-3-5-2. We have Josh Allen and Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, Bucky, and Rico. Wide receivers, St. Brown, Flowers, Addison, Debo, and Boston. Tight ends, Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts. We have the stack here with Goff to St. Brown. No Chicago bringbacks, but that's okay. And then we have an unstacked Josh Allen at the moment. Feels pretty good. We're into the NFC South too with a bet here on Bucky and Pitts. That's also week 15, as I recall. Let's see. Atlanta. No, that's not right. That's week 16. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. It's Tampa Bay, New Orleans, week 15. Herzig ends up getting Jones and Mitchell. Good price there on Mitchell at 141. He had only two running backs up until that point, Kyron Williams and Swift, and then double taps here, Jones and Mitchell. And we do see a little pull up here on Woody Marks up to 139. Not huge, but I wouldn't be surprised if his price moves a little bit. I'm on the clock at 152 and again at 161. Trying to think what I want to do here. I feel like Spears might be a decent click if he's there. I wouldn't be opposed to grabbing Spears. See if these other guys choose to grab him. He does go. Sharps is interesting to me, but maybe we wait and we grab. What do we grab here? Maybe we do grab Sharps. I'm not opposed to it. He has been looking decent, or not looking decent, but I've been hearing good news on him. In his recovery. He could just be really good for this offense if he does end up playing. I don't think we're going to rely on him early. So as a 4, I think he's pretty good here. And I don't know what's behind him that can really offer what he has if he does make a decent recovery. Now again, I don't see him having any use for at least the first half of the season. But thinking about the money weeks, I don't think it's unreasonable to click him here. And then we could still have access. It's just a much better wide receiver pocket, because you have Trey, you have Trey Harris, Trey Tucker, Jalen, McMillan. I don't know. Like the options here just feel a lot better than what I have left at running back. So I think the right click there is to just get Sharps and then take what you can out of this wide receiver pocket. And this guy double taps Mendoza Tucker, so he's done the double quarterback that thing twice, where he does Shaheed Darnold and then Mendoza Tucker. Pretty interesting. What does Seattle play? I'm just trying to get my bearings here. Philly, Rams, and Carolina. Okay. This fall on Jalen McMillan is pretty epic. I guess he's been repriced. Never mind. He used to go up in like the 40s, I think it was, but now he's dropped about 15 picks. So maybe not that epic. This guy grabs Keenan Allen. So this is between Trey Harris and Jalen McMillan for me. I know, I think I'm going to go... Yeah, that one was tough. I ended up going McMillan. I kind of just betting on this NFC South a little bit. It's close for me. I think that was really close between those two guys, but I'll take the ADP value here and grab Jalen. Kind of making a bet here on Tampa Bay. So Bucky and Jalen McMillan here, the two pieces of that offense. Maybe get like a Vele. He ends up getting Trey Harris. That's Herzig, that is. That's interesting. Making a mental note. Wouldn't it shock me if he takes Cyrus Allen now that he's into that Kansas City bet? We'll see if he ends up taking Cyrus. I'm curious how he feels, you know, somebody like Herzig feels about these rookies that have been kind of shooting up the board. We'll see what he does there. Go back to the board view here and we'll kind of keep an eye on it. But yeah, Herzig coming up here at 172. And then we're on the clock at 176. Again at 185. Curious how Herzig plays this. Because at this point, he's got two Chargers pieces. Is he buying the Cyrus Allen hype? Does he want like a bring back to that game? He goes Flournoy. Okay, so he takes Flournoy. I think he's probably just, that feels like the top of ranks kind of thing, because there's no real correlation there. So maybe that's just top of ranks, Ryan Flournoy. Hey, I get it. All right, we're going to grab Dylan Sampson here and be done at our running back position, consolidating a little bit with Sampson and Boston. And I don't feel like I have to take another running back at this point, although we could add a sixth. I don't think it's necessary. I could end this with 3 straight wide receivers if I wanted to, 2 wide receivers and a running back. There's a lot of different ways we can kind of play this. Isaac Tesla, if I want to get the double. Caleb Douglas, if I want to get a bring back to my standalone Josh Allen piece. I think I probably would take the double. But we'll see. Cyrus Allen falling this far back, though, I don't know, has my attention a little bit, for sure. Okay, he ends up going, we're going to double up these Lions, and we're going to go Isaac Tesla here at 185. We'll take the double with Jared Goff here. And then go ahead and recap this team for you guys. So 2-5-7-2, Josh Allen, Jared Goff. We have Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving, Rico Dowdle, Zach Charbonnet, and Dylan Sampson. And then wide receiver, St. Brown, Flowers, Addison, Samuel, Boston, McMillan, and Isaac Tesla. And then tight ends, Warren and Pitts. Now on the way back here, we could go Braylon Allen if we wanted to add a running back if he's still there. I think that's interesting. Kamani Vidal. I kind of like as well as just kind of a guy towards the back here. I did pass up on Hampton. So, you know, I'm kind of telling a story that Hampton's maybe going to have a subpar year, and you're actually going to want, you know, some of those other pieces like Vidal. Braylon Allen, though, I think he's a 1v1 with my Addison piece, and he's been getting some steam. So I have to consider that, certainly. I think those would be the two running backs that I like. And then, you know, maybe I triple down into this Tampa Bay offense with like a Hurst, or we grab like a Jeremy Bernard as kind of a double into this Pittsburgh piece. Braylon Allen's gone. I think there's a decent chance we get Vidal back on the turn. Probably want my pick here of wide receivers first. But yeah, and then there was Vele. Vele ends up going. So for me here, it's probably, I think it's Hurst or Bernard. Why don't we just go Hurst? And then that way we can ping pong points in that Tampa Bay offense. And, you know, if for whatever reason Jalen gets hurt, I know we don't handcuff our wide receivers, but it's ping ponging points. And if something were to happen to either of these guys, then it will indirectly increase the value of the other person, the other player. So just a thought there. And then I think Vidal is probably the guy I want. I don't want Tucker because I'm making the bet on Bucky, but Vidal, Singleton, or Black all seem reasonable. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. Maybe I have it like this. I don't know. It's close. I do think I would like Vidal here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's add him as a 6th. They're going to utilize all 3 running backs in that offense. McDaniels has talked about it. So to grab Vidal here as our 6th, I like this. No real correlation, but I'm just betting on a good offense. And, you know, we'll see what happens. And I did pass up on Hampton. So let's review the team. 2-6-8-2. Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving, Rico Dowdle, Zach Charbonnet, Dylan Sampson, and Kamani Vidal. Wide receivers, St. Brown, Flowers, Addison, Debo, Denzel Boston, Jalen McMillan, Isaac Tesla, and Ted Hurst. And then tight ends, we go Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts. I feel pretty good about this team. Obviously, we have elite number ones in every position group. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, St. Brown, and then Tyler Warren or Kyle Pitts here. You could argue we have 2 kind of top tier tight ends there. Granted, Kyle Pitts has been very volatile, but he has had some mega spike weeks. If we look at the player volatility index here, go to tight ends, we'll see that Kyle Pitts lives way up here. 45.6 was his best game score, but he's not over here with these guys because he doesn't offer like a really strong best season average. Now, maybe that changes this year. Herzig doesn't seem too concerned about the quarterback situation. He took London over Nico Collins in this bet. So if you're going to take a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, then why not take another semi-wide receiver / tight end at pick 100? I think Kyle Pitts is a smash this year. I mean, who else is really, we had Zachariah Branch there and Amadeus Zacchaeus and some other kind of names, but nothing Dotson, I just think it's going to be the Pitts and London show down there. We double stack Goff with St. Brown and come back and get Tesla late. And then we consolidate into this high pass volume Tampa Bay without Baker. We get Bucky, Jalen, and Hurts, who might be playing the X. We also consolidate into Detroit with the stack. We get the wide receiver 3 and, St. Brown. So feel pretty good about this. 2 bets on Baltimore in Flowers and Derrick Henry. Rico, who could be in a 50-50 split with Jalen Warren. Sharps, who probably has no value for the first half of the year, but could be a major factor down the stretch. I love Dylan Sampson at his price and his pass catching chops. And then Vidal, anything happens to Hampton, he's going to be a smash. I think he plays more of a 1-2 first and second down grinder role than somebody like Keaton Mitchell. He can also catch passes. So yeah, overall, I feel pretty good about this team. Let's take a quick look at Justin Hertzig's team. Since he's in here, why not? He goes 3 quarterback, 2 tight end. So 3, 6, 7, 2. Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Rodgers late. That's pretty sharp. Kyron Swift. So 2 up top, and then he doesn't come back until 124 and ends up with 6 total. But Kyron Swift, Aaron Jones, Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson, and Sean Tucker. So he's taken the other side of that running back bet there in Tampa. And he's into that game, Rams. And we were kind of taking each other's players in a way because, he's taking some Chicago pieces that I could have used, and I'm taking a lot of those Tampa pieces. And then we were kind of both getting into the Atlanta game. So that was kind of interesting. But B-Rob and Tucker, wide receivers, he stops at 7. He goes Puka Nacua, Drake London, J-Mo, DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs, Trey Harris, and Ryan Flournoy. Stops at 7. And then he does the 2 tight end thing as well. His are Laporta and Jawan. Mine were Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts. But kind of a similar type of build there. He opts for the extra quarterback. I opted for the extra wide receiver. So pretty interesting. He stacks up Daniels with Diggs. No Jacksonville bring back pieces. He grabs Stafford and stacks up Stafford with Kyron and Puka, and then brings it back with Sean Tucker here. And then he's into New Orleans and Atlanta with Jawan Johnson and Drake London in a 1v1. 2v1 because he also has the B-Rob high value handcuff pick here that he got at 196. So yeah, I think this is a really sharp build. I mean, he is the winner of BBM1, and he finished 2nd in drafters last year. That says something, right? All right, I'm going to take just like a 2-minute break to go get some water. And then I'll be right back. And then I'm going to look at the new tournaments that they dropped today. The Hound Dog and then the first quarter, I think it is. Oh, and then they just dropped the Bassett in the time that we were there. The Bassett Hound. So we have 3 to choose from now. We have first quarter, Hound Dog 2, and Bassett Hound. I'll probably rip 1 or 2 more drafts on those. So give me about 5 minutes. If you guys want to stick around, I'll be right back. And then we're going to get into some more drafts here on the Fantasy Fitness Network. Appreciate you guys all stopping by to spend some time with me. And we will be right back. All right. Sorry about that delay there. Appreciate you guys sticking around if you're still here. If not, sorry it took me a minute there. Just helping out with the kids. So yeah, now we can look at these 3 tournaments that they just dropped today. They dropped the first quarter, the Hound Dog 2, and the Basset Hound. I think I want to just take a break here from the BBMs. I did 2, but happy to stay on stream and rip a couple more, get into some of these other tournaments. I don't anticipate, I'm not maxing any of these. Well, what's the max on this one? Okay, 150 max. Yeah, I won't be doing any maxes on these, but I do think it's always fun to just get some bullets into these other tournaments. You never know, you might just have the winning build. So Hound Dog sounds fun. Let's just start from the Basset Hound and we'll work backwards. So Basset Hound is a $2 entry tournament, 50 max entries. So this one's going to cost you $100 if you max it. It's 4 out of 12, 1 out of 5, and 1 out of 5. So pretty favorable advancement structure here. It's already 21% full. They literally just dropped this thing. This is insane. Man, they're, vultures out there. But 10,000 to first, 5,000 to second, 2,500 to third. Pretty small prize money here. The finals is 376 though. So I do actually like this. I probably like this more than the Hound Dog, because that's like a 9. Let's look at this one real quick, and then we'll decide which one we want to jump into. See, I like this. This part's all fun until you get to the end, and then it's just like a lottery ticket with 991 other builds. So I don't know. I would almost prefer, and you win 20 here versus 10, but I'd rather be in a smaller field final, 376 versus 997. And the advancement structure is like not that much different. I mean, I'd have to sit down and do all the math, but this feels very reasonable. Getting out of that first one, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, basically. And then 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5. So I think what I'd want to do, it's only $2, but I don't know. I feel like ripping a Basset Hound real quick. That seems kind of fun. Could win $10,000. Maybe I put 5 in, 5, 10, something like that, make a $10 bet. I don't know, just something to think about, something to do here on stream. So that would be one option. We talked about the Basset Hound. That's a 6, or the Hound Dog. That's a $6 entry. And then let's look at this first quarter. I've never played this one, so I kind of want to see what it's all about. So basically weeks 1 through 4, 100,000 to first. Okay, we're talking here, got my attention. 2 out of 12, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 4 with a 391 seat final. That also feels pretty good. 100,000 up top, 50,000 to second, 25,000 to third. Obviously, and larger field tournament here, 56,304. And it's, how's this work? Okay, so week 1 is the qualifiers. You have to finish 2 out of 12 in week 1. Then you have to finish 1 out of 6 in week 2, 1 out of 4 in week 3, and then week 4 is the championship. So then week 4 would be the championship, and you could win $100,000. This one's going to take a minute for me to kind of develop a strategy on, because you're betting on like early season matchups. This is something I could see myself using, like the eliminator tool that I built for. Like this, if we come over here and we look at that eliminator tool, that helps us identify favorable, unfavorable, and neutral matchups. So obviously you have to finish top 2 in your pot of 12 week 1. So that's going to be your most difficult week. You're going to want to stack very favorable matchups week 1, and then, the emphasis will go down slightly for each week thereafter. And then obviously you want to have a strong week 4 matchup too. If you find yourself in the finals, then you want to have good matchups for the finals. So I want to sit down and think about this one before I start ripping them. It's a $10 entry. It's definitely something that I'm going to get some in on, but I don't think I'm going to rush to do it right now. Probably go ahead and do a hound dog or a basset hound just to kind of stay on stream here, rip something. So maybe we do this one. I don't know if you guys are in the room still, if you guys want to join me for this one. We're already at 21%. So if you want to get any bullets into this one, you probably got to do it today, maybe by tomorrow, but I'm guessing this one's going to fill super fast. So I'm going to rip this basset hound real quick, and I'll do a 10-second countdown if anybody's in the room and wants to join me for this one. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know it's a little smaller. It's a not as attractive tournament in that respect. It's only 10,000 up top, but for $2 and a 376 seat final, I think it's worth getting some bullets in here. Ah, shit. We missed Hartman. I was hoping we'd have Hartman in here. I do see, well, I see Eli. I don't know him personally, but I see him in a good number of my rooms. It's really the only name that's popping. Michael Moyson, Eli. Yeah, no other real names. If you guys are listening and you're in here, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we'll rip this, and then we're going to rip at least one more after this. And then I'll probably do a little bit of research on that first quarter and start doing some streams for that one, because I think that's a super cool tournament. 4 weeks, 100,000 up top. That feels pretty fun. I have been attached, like literally anchored to this 8 spot all day. All 3 drops today have come out of, I think, the 7 or the 8. I think all 3 were the 8 actually. So we're gonna do this one again from the same spot. I feel like I'm getting pretty comfortable from this 8 slot. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that was a pretty fun draft there with Herzig and that last BBM. I think we both came out with pretty strong teams. He obviously opted for the 3 quarterback, 2 tight end. I opted for 2 quarterback, 2 tight end. Otherwise, you know, I get the extra wide receiver. He stops at 7. But when he went double anchor wide receiver up top. And usually when I do that double anchor up top, I will stop at 7 too, because I feel like you really strengthen up your team when you're going, you know, Puka and a London or Puka and a JSN or something like that. So not JSN, sorry. Who am I thinking of? Nico, Pickens, Neighbors, those guys. So, you know, it made sense that he stopped at 7. He did wait a little bit longer on those running backs too, which I found kind of interesting. But yeah, it felt like we both had 2 pretty solid builds. Like I said, it would be that much more special if you win a tournament like BBM and you do it in a room with a guy like Herzig or Sherman or Elgru 50, Fareed, you know, someone who's been at the top. Like, hell yeah, give me that challenge. All right, I was gonna say Saquon if he was there, but I'm very happy to get the Walker CMC start here. This is always fun. We get a 2.5 pick slide here on Kenneth Walker. So we'll go ahead and take this RB start. What's up, Best Ball on Call? Good to see you in here, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by, as always. And let's see how this board is falling. So, you know, I would have taken Barkley. That's also a 1v1, week 17, like right off the jump. But happy to take Walker here too. I'm clicking a bunch of him this year. I think he could be, you know, he could be a smash. Obviously, he's never really consolidated a backfield for an extended period of time. He has the physical profile to do it. He's never maybe ever been asked to do it, or, you know, I don't really know the reasons specifically. I don't think any of us really do. But, you know, he's going to have an opportunity to own a backfield this year in Kansas City, and we'll see what he makes of those opportunities. If he does well with it, I think he'll pretty much own that backfield. If not, maybe we do see Emmett Johnson splitting some carries with him, or getting a little bit more involved in the receiving work. I was impressed with Emmett Johnson in that first preseason game. Now, granted, I take it with a grain of salt because it was against like the 2s and the 3s, but just the way he kind of moves and the way, you know, the way he takes angles, I do like Emmett Johnson's running style. Now, he wasn't like an early draft capital kind of guy, but there aren't many running backs anymore that are early draft capital kind of guys. So in my dynasty leagues that I play in, he was a very sought after player amongst the dynasty community. In the second round, he was going early second in many dynasty drafts. So I found that to be interesting with Emmett Johnson. But I'm taking both of those guys depending on the build. Here we could go Jeremiah Love. We grab Trey McBride. I think we just grab McBride. I already have the 2 up top. Love's, you know, want a little bit more clarity. I'll take him, but I don't feel like it's a must-have that I take Jeremiah Love here. We'll mix them in. But McBride at 32, that's attractive to me. That's a good price. Now, Josh Allen getting pulled up here to 31. That's also kind of interesting. I guess, you know, when you get into some of these smaller tournaments, you know, they'll do wackier things with their builds. You don't see as much of this in like BBM, but puppies and other things, you do see some funkier starts. I don't tend to change my draft style all that much. In fact, I kind of like it when people do this because you get ballers in your lap and you don't necessarily have to come up with your own creativity. The room will do it for you. And so, you know, not that this is a case of that yet with Trey McBride, but we might see it as we move along in this build. In terms of what I want to do here, I think Garrett Wilson, if he's there, I would easily click him. Brees as well, coming back into the 4th. Those would be my primary targets here if we get them. If not, I would probably... Okay. Can't say I don't love or hate Tet. He's just one of those guys. I'll pick him. Here, he's probably the click. Maybe, you know, for structural reasons. I tend to be a little bit more of a structured drafter than say like, you know, when I'm on here with like Zero and stuff. He's more of a, you know, a non-structured drafter, and he's always just looking for what he sort of sees as the best value. I will tend to maintain structure a little bit more, which is sometimes why we battle, you know, in a good way, of course. But, you know, we see things a little bit differently in the context of structure and how it relates to, you know, your builds. But, you know, I don't like to get into builds where my first wide receiver is coming at 65 or something like that. Let's like say we miss a pocket here. I'm just using it to illustrate an example. I don't like builds where I start wide receiver 1 at 65. You know, he doesn't mind those types of builds as much. So when we do like co-drafting and stuff, we agree to disagree sometimes and do those things to get unique in other ways. But I will generally lean into structure when, you know, when I feel like I'm going to fall behind at a given position. Everybody does it a little bit differently. But in this, I bring all that up to say that in this particular build, I think Tet was kind of like a structural click, because if I don't take him here, then the first wide receiver on this build is going to be a Parker Washington, a Rome Odunze, a Christian Watson. And I don't do a lot of those builds unless I'm, you know, co-drafting or something like that. I'm going to grab Christian Watson here. These other guys are fine, but again, I think Christian Watson deserves to be in this conversation, right in this range. So why not go ahead and grab Christian Watson here at 57. keep it nice and balanced. That's what makes this fun, is everybody does it a little bit different, you know, and how they view texture and structure and how they want to put their builds together. You know, we draw our lines in different places, and that's why everybody kind of ends up with different builds. I will go to different extreme builds, like extreme heroes, extreme zero RBs on occasion, but they're just, you know, I tend to come in probably a little earlier than, you know, other people in terms of when, like if I start 4 wide receivers, I'm taking my running back in the 5th. I don't think I'm going to push that to like Rico Dowdle or RJ Harvey or something like that. You'll get guys that'll go 6 straight and your first running back is RJ Harvey. Like, I don't generally do those unless I'm getting boxed out, and I'm there not by choice, but because the board sort of forced me into it. Here we could go Marv, or I could get into one of these elites. I think on this particular build, I'll just take Marv. He's kind of at the end of that tier for me. We're into like a balanced build here. We have CMC and Kenneth Walker, Tet, Christian Watson, and Marvin Harrison, and then Trey McBride. So kind of a double bet here on Arizona. Watson and Tet, Kenneth Walker, and Christian McCaffrey. What's up, Who Hames? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Good to see you. We are into a Basset Hound at the moment. Doing this $2 Basset Hound, 50 entry max, 4 out of 12, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5, with a relatively small final here, 376, 10,000 up top. We just got done with 2 BBMs. I think they both went pretty well. The second one we were in there with Justin Hertzig, BBM1 winner. So if you guys missed that or you're coming in late, might be worth a rewind if you want to watch a BBM with myself and Justin Hertzig drafting against each other. Appreciate you stopping by. If you guys haven't already, smash that like button, hit that like, help me out, help me grow this channel. Here, well, I would say kind of a gross range. I'll just maybe pull up Godwin here. I could go double elite tight end. I could grab Downs or like Lemon. Maybe Lemon. Now I think about it, maybe I go Lemon there. That would be a bring back to our Christian McCaffrey. I think actually not at 80. He's been falling back into the 90s. If Lemon's there on the way back, I think I grab Lemon there, but not over Godwin, especially with his recent fall. What's the news on him today? Listed as limited, not in uniform. Okay, so he's getting, starting to get back on the field. He's been falling into the 90s. I've been clicking him there. That's a good price for him, in my opinion. So I would be into this Lemon click if he makes it back. If not, I like Corum here. Don't like Michael Wilson because we're already 2 bets in on Arizona. I would probably pass on that. I think Lemon or Corum is probably where I would go with this. Yeah, let's take the fall on Lemon. Getting him here at 89. Strengthen up this wide receiver room. And we're on a 0-2-5-1. Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, wide receivers Tet, Watson, Marv, Godwin, and Mekhi Lemon, who's now being repriced into the high 90s, low 80s. And then we have our elite here at tight end. We have Trey McBride. Coming back into this range, we would have, I could see grabbing Mahomes if he falls, just because I have a little piece of that. And, you could then get some like Chargers pieces. Also like Purdy, because you can backstack him, but we also have the front-loaded piece here in McCaffrey. So if either of those guys make it back, I don't know if they will. And we have the Philly piece. Both of those guys are gone. All right, so now we're looking at, I think I want to try to get Love on the way back, but would be looking at probably a running back here. Dobbins. We could take the fall on Chuba. We're kind of into that bet a little bit. Or we go Mason or Gainwell. I think those are all... I would be honestly fine with all of these. Probably would have it kind of in the order that I do have it, although I could go... I want to go Gainwell over... Gainwell's kind of fun, actually. Maybe I go Gainwell. Let's go Gainwell. We have the Godwin piece here as well, and maybe we get a fallback on Baker. So like either take Baker here, and maybe we get a fall on Love, or we take Love and Baker. I think Love's been falling less than Baker. Baker, I see him slipping more often than I do Love. So why don't we go Love first at 113, assuming he's there. I don't see, I guess we have this drafter to our right who could take him, but feels unlikely. We'll see what he does. If he does, then we take Baker. He goes Stribling. So why don't we grab... Yeah, let's grab Jordan Love. And then we will try to come back and get Baker on the way back. It would have to be a fall, but he might be there. If not, I mean, it's fine. We're just consolidating into a good offense here. Trying to think of what else I would want to do in this range. It's kind of a funky range. I mean, it's good players, but I'm just trying to think of how I want to build it. Obviously, Jaden Higgins is out. If you guys haven't heard the news, Jaden Higgins torn ACL, out for the season. Total bummer there. Definitely was drafting my fair share of Jaden Higgins. Pre-draft, post-draft. Yeah, so I'm eating a little bit of that one. Kind of sucks, but I think at his price, you know, those builds can still survive. Just a little bit of a bummer there. Well, it looks like we might be turning this into a later quarterback build. I mean, outside of Love, it could be guys like Bryce and Brissett, something like that. So that guy did not get the news, unfortunately. I feel bad for him. Let's go. It's either C-Rod or Mitchell here. Let's go Mitchell. Let's go C-Rod. I think he's got a chance to have a bigger role, and it's kind of a two-headed backfield. Although LaQuint Allen, I have heard he's going to be in on passing downs. I don't know how true that is. I did read a little bit, or I heard, trying to remember where the source was, but LaQuint Allen in pass protection, he's one of the best pass protection backs on that team. Something that I'm not so sure the other guys are good at. So I do think he'll have a role on that offense, albeit probably pretty small. But yeah, we'll go C-Rod here. It was kind of close between him and Mitchell. I wouldn't mind taking just like an unstacked Malik Willis either. That sounds pretty fun. And then coming back and getting like a Brissett at the end. I think that could be cool. Do like Shaheed here as well, but I feel pretty good at the... yeah, I think I have to take Willis here. I don't know what options I'll have later. There's no guarantees I'm getting Brissett. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get Shaheed and necessarily come back and get like a Darnold. So he is a piece of this. He's like a 1v1 here with Tet. But yeah, I mean, this guy goes Shaheed and then Darnold immediately comes off after that. I'm guessing that was the JSN drafter. Yes, it was. So yeah, I think Willis there makes sense. And then we probably tap into like Jacoby Brissett, since I have 2 pieces of that Arizona passing attack, and probably stop it there. Although if we got boxed out, I think you could make it with Love and Willis. I think you could make it work. It's not one that I want to stop at 3 on. Although, you know, I've had worse 2 quarterback builds in my life, that's for sure. Here we could go Travis Hunter, Jalen, Tucker, Trey Harris. All these guys are good. Normally, you guys know I'm taking Trey Tucker. I don't know, I'm kind of feeling... yeah, let's go Tucker, I guess. Or not Tucker, sorry. Let's go Hunter. We'll go Travis Hunter. I feel like we're pretty strong there. Maybe take a slightly bigger upside swing with Travis Hunter. Feels fine. We do have the other C-Rod piece, so we're making a bet here on the Jacksonville offense that it's going to smash. And I think Tucker, okay, I was going to say Tucker normally has a better chance of falling than Hunter, although I've kind of seen it both ways, if I'm being fair. We could go Lloyd here and stop at 5, and that gets us the pass-catching running back to our Jordan Love, Christian Watson stack. Like if we come back and get Lloyd here and stop at, see if this guy wants to give it to us. Dog. Okay. He doesn't want to give it to us. So we're going to go... We are either going to go Trey Harris or Sharps here. Trey Harris or Sharps. Let's go Trey Harris. I feel like I need a little bit more firepower in this room than I do at running back. We'll review the team real quick. We have Jordan Love and Malik Willis. Malik Willis unstacked. Running backs, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Kenny Gainwell, double Kennys, and then Chris Rodriguez. I would have gone Lloyd there, but he gets picked right before us. So we move on to Trey Harris. Wide receivers, Pet, Watson, Marv Godwin, Mekhi Lemon, Travis Hunter, and Trey Harris. And then Trey McBride. So lots of Treys and Kennys on this build. I'm sensing a theme. Now here we could get into like Malik if we really like the stack. We could grab Cyrus Allen and consolidate our Kansas City bet. Could reach down and grab Caleb Douglas, pull him up. I always like clicking Samson. He's one of my favorite clicks in the back here. Feel like we haven't even seen the best of him yet. What do these guys have? 4s and 5s and 6s. I guess we'll go... It's between one of these Miami guys. I don't take a lot of Malik Washington, so maybe I'll just click him here. Been doing a lot more Douglas. But maybe this is the time to bring him in. And we're at 8. We probably can stop there in this wide receiver room. We'll see if we get one of these running backs back. I just saw a lot of 5s and 6s, so hoping we get one back. Kind of playing the board there. If not, then maybe we pivot over to like AJ Barner here. I could see this being like Samson, if not Barner. And then if not, maybe just double stack the Miami pass catchers and make this a 9. But I don't know. Where's Brissett? I feel like I can't lose track of him. 198. Do I have to take him here? Huh. I might need to take Brissett here. I think I might need to take Brissett here if I want to double stack those Arizona pieces. But Dylan Sampson, that's a good price on him if he makes it back. 185. Oh, shoot. Brissett goes anyways. Okay, he makes the decision for me. We're going to go Dylan Sampson. And then we may end up getting boxed out here and make this a 2. Or we could tack on... Yeah, we're out of quarterback. So the only other option we have is taking like an unstacked Tua. I think you can get by with these two. It's not ideal, but we have a rushing quarterback here. And then, you know, Jordan Love, who's kind of got the situation a little bit more figured out there, I think, with the whole passing scheme. You know, once they unloaded Romeo, Dobbs, he moves on. I think the roles are a little bit more clear at this point between Golden and Watson and Reed. Reed obviously is kind of an inside-out player who plays mostly in the slot and is very good at it, for that matter. And then Golden as kind of, I think, an X, a smaller X, but I think he's kind of an X. And Watson is, I feel like, more of the Z. Although they probably just interchange that between those two guys, and sometimes they're the X and sometimes they're the Z. But I think in a vacuum, Golden feels like more of like the boundary, straight down the field kind of guy, deep threat, and Watson's more of the guy they move around in formation. Here, I want to get Pat Freiermuth. We could go Dulcich, but in a vacuum, like Freiermuth over Dulcich for sure. For sure. And then we have one more pick. I could just tack on like an unstacked Tua if I feel really concerned about this quarterback room, which I do a little, but I'm not like overly concerned. But I'm strong in these other rooms. We have McCaffrey, Walker, Gainwell, C-Rod, and Sampson. I feel like that's enough. Then again, we could add like a B-Rob who shouldn't be going at pick 209. Unfortunately, we don't have 2 more picks left. We only have 1. We talked about Vidal. He's also a bring back to our Kenneth Walker piece here. Could grab Sean Tucker. Well, no, we wouldn't want to do that because we have the Gainwell bet. So yeah, I mean, maybe it is just Tua unstacked. It's kind of gross, but I don't necessarily see anything else that I have to have. I guess we could strengthen up this tight end room a little bit if we wanted to add a third. Grab like a Darren Waller or one of those types of guys. A Michael Mayer. Mayer's a bring back to our 2 Arizona pieces. I think it's between these 3 guys. And maybe because we are a little light at quarterback, we just take the unstacked Tua. It doesn't help us by week 11, but it helps us all the other weeks. So, oh, it was pretty close there. Mayer, Vidal, or Tua. And I opted for Tua unstacked. Although I am curious if I have any other correlation in the other weeks. And then we're going to hop into another one. So if you guys want to do this Basset Hound with me, I'll do a countdown. Hopefully you guys don't get rug pulled like Hartman did on the last one. We're going to try to get some friends and family in here and rip this Basset Hound. But I'm just looking here at that Atlanta piece and seeing if I had any correlation. In fact, I do quite a bit. Well, I don't know if I have any Washington pieces, but I have the Tampa Bay piece week 16. So it's not, it's not entirely unstacked, uncorrelated. We do have the Tampa Bay pieces, and 2 of them for that matter. We have Godwin and Kenny Gainwell with a Tua bring back week 16. So yeah, all in all, I feel like it's a decent build. Let's go over it real quick. We end up with Jordan Love, Malik Willis, and Tua Tagovailoa. He is unstacked on this one. We have running backs, CMC, Kenneth Walker, Kenny Gainwell, C-Rod, and Dylan Sampson. I think that's a solid 5. Could you add a 6 to a room like this? I think certainly, but I don't think it's necessary. That's like right kind of on that border between a 5 and a 6. But when you get the double up top, I'm good stopping at 5, assuming you don't wait till like the very end to tack on your other 3. We came back in at 104, 128, and then 185. So this feels very much like a perfect 5 room for me when I'm doing my builds. And then I like 8 in a room like this because we don't start until 41. Yes, we got to work pretty heavily between 41 and 89. Like we did our work there, but still like we don't have any of the premier wide receivers that you're going to get in the top 2 rounds. So when I do these types of builds, I'm generally pushing for 8 wide receivers. And then because we had the elite here with Trey McBride, it's like I can come back whenever and get my second. And I don't generally add a third when I've got like a Trey McBride or a Colston Loveland or a Bowers or something like that. When I come in and get my second, it can be different on every build. You guys saw like I did the Warren Pitts thing. But this one, like it's Trey McBride, and then, you know, I can't get back in until Freiermuth. Like, then it's Freiermuth, you know? So is what it is. But yeah, I think this is a good 8. We go Tet, Christian Watson, Marvin Harrison, Chris Godwin, Mekhi Lemon on the fall to 189, Travis Hunter, Trey Harris, and Malik Washington. Correlation is Love to Watson with no Houston pieces. A good piece would have been like Schultz, especially with the news today on Higgins. Like if we would have went Love to Watson and then had like Schultz as a 2, I think that would be like fire. We went Malik Willis to Malik Washington. So Malik to Malik with no Buffalo pieces, just a single stack there. And then the unstacked Tua. And then we had that correlation between Philly and San Francisco, just like a 1v1 there. And Walker and Trey Harris kind of in a 1v1. So a little bit of correlation for those other weeks. Feels like a pretty decent build. Let's go rip another one, guys. It's gonna be the 4th build of the day, 2 BBMs, and then we're gonna do 2 Basset Hounds, and then we'll reassess the situation after that. So we'll do the countdown here. Again, if you're coming in, you wanna rip one Basset Hound, get over there, underdog. 4 out of 12, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5, 376 seat final. You can come home. You can come home with 10K in your pocket if you win this one. Countdown starts now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Waiting for 3. So if you all want in, you can come on in. If you guys are watching on X, smash that follow button or head on over there to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. If you guys like this content, hit the like as well. That'll help us grow the channel. We are in here with Ruben Zoo. He's a very good drafter, and we do have Hartman in here as well. I'm at the 4, Hartman's at the 6. We got Ruben Zoo at the 1. I don't recognize any of these other names, but if you guys are in here, let me know in the chat. I will review your team at the end. And I'll probably review Ruben Zoo's as well, just because I'm in a lot of rooms with this guy, and he's a really good drafter. So we'll see what he puts together from the 1 slot. Those are the only names that I personally recognize in here. This one starts in 30 seconds. Let's get it going. Oh, not even 5 seconds. All right, and we're ready to go. Ripping the Basset Hound here. Hartman's asking about Ruben Zoo. I don't know if he's a content guy. I've just been in a bunch of rooms with him, and I've looked at some of his builds, and he puts together some like really sharp builds. And so I when I'm in a room with him, I kind of will, at this point, since I've seen him enough, I'll kind of just stop and look at his builds, because his builds are good, and I feel like I can learn something from his builds. So he's one of those guys that when I see him around or I'm in a room with him, I'll spend an extra minute at the end just checking out his build. I don't know or haven't seen him as a content creator, streamer, but he might be out there. All right, we are going to go with Puka Nacua at the 104. Keep it pretty simple here. Oh man, Tyler Warren goes down with a groin injury today. Do you know the severity? I hope this isn't a big injury. I just took him in that BBM. You got me all nervous now. Please tell me it's not like a season ender. Limps off field. Okay. Yeah, 25 seconds ago. Well, limping off the field is better than getting carted off the field. So I'll start with that as a semi-positive news. Let's hope it's not like, yeah, season ending or anything significant. But yeah, Hartman says Tyler Warren injured today in practice. So I guess adjust accordingly in your drafts. All right, so Hartman goes with St. Brown here at 6. Pulls him up just a little bit, takes him over CMC. I've got Puka. Ruben Zoo goes with Gibbs. You know, he's in the 101, so probably not going to do anything crazy there. Rest of this first round, after Hartman goes St. Brown at 6, we have McCaffrey at 7, Taylor at 8, Lamb at 9, Cook at 10, Jefferson at 11, and Genty at 12. Does the Genty Barkley start here at the turn? And then we're on our way back. We'll be picking at 21. We'll keep an eye on Hartman too as we go through this draft, see what Hartman puts together. And if you guys aren't already following Hartman or Huhames, now is the time to do so. Get out there to YouTube, search Huhames and search Hartman FF. Give those guys a sub. They're streaming a couple times a week. I know Who goes probably I don't know if he's every day, but he's on there very frequently. Hartman's also on there multiple times a week, from what I can tell. My schedule's more ad hoc. I don't have a schedule. I just do it when I've got the time. But I'm trying to stream every day between now and the beginning of the NFL kickoff. All right, I'm gonna buy this Nico Price. I'm gonna take him over London because Jaden Higgins tore his ACL today, and I anticipate he's going to move up slightly. Maybe he'll become more of a staple in the middle of the second. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm going to buy him here because they're down a pass catcher in Houston with the Jaden Higgins ACL news. So try to grab him with this build. So starting off, double wide receiver, Puka Nacua, Nico Collins. And then Hartman starts off St. Brown and Brock Bowers. I like that. That's fun. And Ruben Zoo is going Gibbs. Olave into the second. So now he's a second round pick. Chris Olave. First time I've seen it. And grab Smith at 25. That's interesting. He's moving up. So we're moving up Olave to the second, but we're not moving up Nico. I'm just making sure I understand this. Man, I don't really like Rice a ton, but this range is crappy now. Unless I guess I could pull up Zay or one of these other guys. I'm gonna just take Rice. I don't know. He's not looking great so far in camp. I mean, he was in jail, so that's never fun. You never want to be in jail when you're supposed to be training and getting ready for an NFL season. But that's what we have to deal with here with Rashee Rice. But he slips a little bit, so I will begrudgingly take Rashee Rice here at 28. And Hartman goes Ladd. So he's pulling up Ladd a little bit, setting up for that Herbert stack maybe. That range is so gross back there in the 7th. So with kind of not a lot of other good options, pulling up Herbert in that range, I actually think that's pretty damn sharp. Because you kind of get pinned between, guys like Pollard, if he's there, but he's not there sometimes. Then you got to pull up like Reed, or you take like QJ, which doesn't feel good. DK, I don't know. It's just this range between like the 6-7 turn is pretty ugly outside of the quarterbacks. And Hartman he's ready to make a stand on Ladd. I love it. So Hartman's making a stand on Ladd. I've seen this in 2 rooms I've been in with him now. He's been pulling up Ladd a little bit there into like the middle of the 3rd. It's totally reasonable. Honestly, like you could make a case for Ladd over Rice. Maybe Zay is at the kind of the top of that. So I think some people will argue for Zay there, but Ladd, I don't see it as like an issue, right? It's just kind of like, what do you want to do with these wide receivers here? So, and it sets up for like another ugly range at like 78 to just grab Herbert and get your quarterback. So I feel you, man. I know you like Scat, but you're going to pass on Scat? Okay. So I wasn't sure if you were going to take that or not. I'm going to grab... I can either sort of double down on Monty here, or I grab this one, or I grab Loveland. Maybe I do grab Loveland. And we're really going to push the 0 RB out just a little bit further. It was Swift, Monty, or Loveland for me there. Don't take a ton of Loveland, so we'll grab him here. And we're going to continue on with our 0 RB build here at pick 4. On the clock again at 52. Hartman's asking, will Scat fall into the 5th more with Big Naj now? I don't know. That's a good question. That one's kind of tricky. I mean, I think the way we are, like as humans, like we probably will start pushing him to that turn, and he will probably slip into the 5th. Will he become a staple of the 5th? I'm not so sure about that, but I do think he will. It will start to become a question. Man, I either grab Judkins or Bucky, or I grab JMO here and grab the correlation. I could also grab Adams and do the double Rams pieces. I don't generally double stack the Rams, although I could have done that there. I kind of like the JMO to Colston here, starting off 4 wide receivers and an elite tight end. And we are going to do more of a more extreme 0 RB build on this one. Trying to do different build structures and not, I have my favorites. I'm more of a balanced drafter, but I do also want to mix up my build types. And here we go. I'm just gonna lean into this 0 RB build. It went from like 0 RB light to what I would call like a classic 0 RB, 4 wide receivers before my first running back. And I've tacked on an elite wide receiver in the process. Elite tight end, excuse me. Sorry. Sometimes I mess up the position groups. But yeah, this is a good question. I do think he's going to move. People, naturally we're going to react to competition in the backfield. Will he be a staple of the 5th? I don't know. If he does move there, though, I will be clicking him more because I've been pretty light on him thus far. I will grab one of these two running backs, if they're there, potentially. They're not, so I'm going to grab... I don't have a reason for unstacked Burrow. We could go Daniels. Why don't I pull up Pollard to guarantee myself a running back? And then if I get back Caleb, I'll take Caleb or Daniels. Because I think Caleb, because I have the stack with Colston and the bring back with JMO. Daniels, because I can take him unstacked. If those guys are gone, then I might just grab another wide receiver. Does this guy have... This guy doesn't have him. I was looking for the Burden. Oh, yeah, you've got Burden. You have Burden? Yeah, you have Burden. So I am going to take Caleb. All right. I'm going to take Caleb. This is a pretty extreme 0 RB build, but we do finally get our first running back here in Tony Pollard at pick 69. And then I opted to push Caleb around the corner, and I stack him up with Loveland and get the JMO bring back. And then we've got Puka, Collins, Rashi as our other 3 wide receivers. Hopefully we can clip some more running backs here at 93 and 100. I definitely don't do it intentionally. It happens sometimes, though. We seem to be drafting right next to each other, and that tends to lead to builds we like. But I think you get the right guy here, because I probably prefer to stack Vlad with Herbert, because he's kind of your premier asset versus Burden. I guess you go either way, but you set yourself up nicely to get either one of those guys, which was pretty sharp. But I see what you're saying. You do have the St. Brown piece there. Now you just get Goff, and then you're good. Goff and Herbert, that sounds like a nice pairing. All right, I need to clip some running backs here, or this is going to get ugly really quickly. So the goal here is to come out of here with at least 1 running back in this turn, maybe 2. We'll see how the board wants to treat this. I do want one running back with these next 2 picks at minimum. If I don't like the running backs, I could take Mahomes too and stack him up with Rice, or I could try to push the second quarterback to Goff if Hartman doesn't take him, or fall back into like the Stroud or the Matthew Stafford range and try to get my second there. Those both work out well on the buys, with Caleb being by week 10, 11 and 8 for Nico. So, maybe the wise thing to do is double tap the running backs here and then try to get either Goff, Stafford, or Stroud later. Okay. We will take this fall on RJ Harvey. I'm desperate, and I don't see Rico anymore. He's jumped him quite a bit at this point. So we're going to go Harvey here. And then I guess I could have went Dobbins there. Actually, Dobbins on 0 RB builds is probably a better profile. So that wasn't, and now I don't want to take Dobbins later. So I don't know. I think if I could do that over again, maybe I'd take Dobbins there. I just think on 0 RB builds, Dobbins, I like his profile more. So that was probably a mistake. Chuba, though, I will take Chuba at this price. I could also go Manungai. Manungai does offer the piece. Or you pull up JCM or one of those guys, but I don't know. I'm gonna go Hubbard here. It's close between those two, but he's injured right now. I guess Chuba is as well. 2 injured guys. And then I'm going to hope for a Stafford or a Goff fallback. And if I don't get either of those, then I'll be into like Stroud and something later, like a Cam Ward. I'm just trying to think through what I would do with my third quarterback. Maybe you don't need a third if I end up clipping Stafford or Goff. Yeah, let me queue them up. Goff is already gone. Oh, this guy wasn't even screwing around. Holy shit. Okay. He didn't even want to risk it. Because where's Laporta? Okay, yeah, he's got Laporta on the end. And I could see like a Laporta Goff pairing there. He's got Allen. So Hartman doesn't risk it. He takes Goff at 102, stacks him up with Brown. And now he's got that Herbert Goff pairing at a quarterback. I like that. I need a hope here. Where's my Adams drafter? Adams is right here, and he's only got one. Now maybe he likes. Okay, Kyler's gone, so that hurts me. Because now this guy doesn't have like the Kyler piece. If he wanted that, I doubt he's gonna take Baker. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna lose out on Stafford at 114 if he makes it even that far. So I need to look for other plans at this point. I guess running back never hurts on a build like this. Stafford will be at top of queue if the Adams drafter does pass on him. I'm not anticipating that he will. He doesn't have another stacking option outside of Kyler, and Kyler went, so that kind of hurts me. Unless he likes Shuck. You know, if he has ETN, if he likes Shuck, then I could see him skipping for Shuck. Oh, Stafford went one pick ahead, so he kind of boxed them out there. Interesting. All right, well. I could go Kyle Pitts and be done if Pitts is there. I'm gonna take White. I need all the running back help I can get with the start with my first RB, Tony Pollard, and then not taking Dobbins, taking Harvey instead of Dobbins. That was a mistake. I need to continue to press the running back room here. Next pick, though, there isn't tons of good options. I guess I could pull up C-Rod. Or I head back into the... Maybe I grab Shuck here. Trying to think of where I can get back in. This Stribling price is good. You don't see 123 Stribling, even though that's his ADP. I never see this in my rooms. I don't know. I'm going to go Shuck because I can backstack him. And there's, you know, Johnson and Vele back there. No guarantees I'm going to get Willis or Darnold with like a stacking piece. So, you know, I grab Stroud here, and those are going to be my three probably. Could you get away with this too? You could get away with that too if you get boxed out. I think I'd want a third, but it's not necessary. It's not required. I didn't feel like any of the wide receivers were worth it for to push Goff, so he takes Goff. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel you. All right, let's review this team real quick. 2-4-4-1. We have Caleb Williams and Tyler Shuck. We have as our first running back. This is an zero RB build. We go Tony Pollard, RJ Harvey, who I'm wishing was Dobbins now. Chuba Hubbard and Rashad White. Wide receivers, Puka, Nico, Rashi, and Jamison Williams. And then we have Colston Loveland as our tight end. So we went Caleb to Colston with the JMO bringback. And then I did grab Nico because of the Higgins news today. I'm anticipating he's going to move up a tick or two into maybe the middle of the second with that news. If you aren't aware of the news, Jaden Higgins out for the year, suffers a torn ACL at practice. Just horrible, man. Horrible news. All right. And we are on the clock here in 5 picks. Help me out if you guys haven't already. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. It'll help this channel grow. I'm trying to stream every day between now and the start of the NFL season, which is in 21 days, 4 hours, and 8 minutes. 21 days, 4 hours, and 8 minutes. And we will be watching real football, not preseason football. All right, we're going Woody Marks. And then I'm going to hope for Stroud. I think I'd rather get the running back. And if I end up with the quarterback, so be it. I can always come in later. These guys have 2, 3, 3, 2, 2. So I'm kind of playing the board here. Maybe they take a Stroud. But you don't have Higgins to stack with them anymore. I took Woody Marks. So I'm removing incentives. And these guys went pretty heavy. You know, these are like, you know, all in the top 100. So I'm going to grab Stroud here. And we're going to double stack him with Nico and Woody. So Caleb, Chuck, and Stroud. We're done at quarterback. Pollard, Harvey, Hubbard, White, and Marks. Woody, I should say. That's what we know him by. The only thing I'm regretting in this room is Harvey instead of Dobbins. I should have taken Dobbins instead of Harvey, I think, on a build like this. I like the 1-2 grinders more on these types of builds, at least with my first couple. I don't know. Harvey's just one of those, like, how much can I rely on him? And I need production from this running back room. And this is like a 0 RB build. So I think in this context, I prefer the Dobbins over Harvey. Now, that's not always the case, but on this particular type of build, I do prefer that. And then wide receivers, Puka, Collins, Rice, and Williams. And then elite tight end here in Colston Loveland. So now we're going to get to work with the remaining wide receivers. We have 4, but those 4 came in the first 5 rounds, 4 in the first 5. So coming back at the end now to tack on like 3 more or even 4 more, which is probably overkill. I think 7. You could even maybe stop at 6, but I think 7, 6 or 7 here. And then 3, 6, 7, 2 is how I see this thing shaping up. Because we have our elite with Colston Loveland, so we just tack on 1 more, stop at 2, add 3 more wide receivers, and add 1 more running back. That's kind of how I want to play this. Hartman autoed. Who did he auto? Let me go back. I didn't see it. Hartman autoed. Oh, Jalen. Oh, Higgins. Shit. Bro. I know. That's what I was going to tell. So if you guys are playing this game, you should upload your ranks. I had my ranks uploaded and I took them down. But like, I think a good piece of advice for anyone who's doing this is to go under rankings, go under NFL, and then actually upload your ranks. So put these ranks in and set your limits as well. I think that's good. But if you upload your ranks, then you can take out those guys and you won't find yourself, you know, you take out your Pearsall out. Oh, shit, which one am I in? The Basset Hound. Okay. You take those guys out of your ranks and then you have, you know, you can't do what happened to Hartman there. So that's just a good piece of advice, I think, for everybody If you don't want ranks that are different from ADP, then just upload the ADP ranks and take out those players you don't like, and then everything else stays the same. But that way you avoid what happened there to Hartman. You just get them completely out of there, and you won't find yourself in that situation. Now, do I like Omar Cooper, or do we grab our 5th here? Let's grab Lloyd. He plays well as a bring back to our Houston pieces, and we did kind of double down on Houston here. Yeah, to be fair, it is a $2 draft. We're not talking about BBM here. I think I'd be pretty ticked off if this was BBM, but for a $2 Basset Hound, you know, I don't think you're going to lose much sleep on that one. I think I could stop with these 6 and call it in this running back room, and then we end it with 3 more wide receivers and tack on a tight end where it makes sense. Like maybe this is where we do take the tight end, and we grab Hunter Henry if he's there. And we don't like him, then we grab Pat Bryant or one of these other wide receivers. I think that's kind of how I want to play this. Hunter at 171, man. I'm not passing that up. It works out perfect on the buys. I said I want to stop at 2. I do have a little correlation with Harvey. But it's all about price, and I love Hunter Henry. If we look at the best ball zone and we come over here to the player volatility and index quadrant graph that I built, sort by tight end. First off, this guy is tethered to Drake May, but look at where he sits on here. Last year, I mean, even if we just sort by last year, Hunter Henry, he's right next to Colston Loveland. He had a 29-point best game score, and his season-long average was 10.52. So this guy can spike. He's in our studs category quadrant, and he fell 20 picks past ADP. I wanted to stop at 2 anyways. Thank you very much. Hunter Henry, come on down. And now we're just going to end this with 3 straight wide receivers. We started off with 4 in the first 5. We'll end it with 3, and we'll get our 7 structurally sound. We did all the work here in these middle rounds with our running backs, with the one freaking mistake at Harvey over Dobbins. Kicking myself for that. But other than that click, I'm pretty damn happy with the way that this 0 RB build came out thus far. I just can't screw up these last 3 picks. But I am a little ticked off about that Dobbins click. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty pissed. I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. I'm freaking pissed off. All right, let's go 3 wide receivers, and we're gonna wrap this one up. Omar Cooper, like this slide is too much for me. I get it. I haven't been clicking him as much, but like, that's the market being irrational at that price. I'll gladly take him if he makes it back. We'll see what we want to do there. I need him. I know people may not need him for their build, so I get it, but that price is just, it's a little too much for me. And then I will go Omar Cooper. Sure. Pick 189, ADP of 157. Love that. Feel like I got a pick 2 rounds earlier. Then we're going to grab, let's see, Judy. We have Ridley, Hurst, Bernard, all these guys. Kind of just like the Ridley click here, if we get it. Yeah, I mean, he's not my favorite player, but I don't know. He projects as like a 2. I'll just grab him here. And then we need one more with this last pick. I think we'll go, and maybe I go Vele there because he's moving up, but I'm going to try to get Vele. If I can't get Vele, then where's Jalen Nold? Has he moved up yet? Did they click him? Anybody in this room click Jalen Nold yet? He did get clicked, didn't he? Where did he go? Where did he go? Maybe he didn't get clicked. Did I miss him? Let's look. No, he's still on the board. Okay, so we're gonna, it's probably something like this. Vele, Noel, Hurst on a build like this one. I think that's how I want to build it. And then we'll wrap this one up. 2, 6, 7, 2, 0 RB is the build structure for this one. I'll review it and then we'll probably call it there. I can get some other stuff done. That's 4 builds that we put together, 2 BBMs, 2 Basset Hounds. And I think those are some pretty solid builds. I don't like the Warren news. I'm going to keep keeping an eye on Tyler Warren. I hate to hear the Tyler Warren news. Hopefully it's not anything too serious. Going to be waiting to hear about that one. But that sucks. Tyler Warren limps off of practice today. Reported groin injury. But man, the outlook for him just looks so good. So good. So that one gets me a little nervous. He was doing really well in training camp. Starting to get some nice highlight catches. There's just not a ton of competition there. A bunch of vacated targets with Pittman leaving town. So I was really excited about Warren. I'm just hoping it's not anything major. We already got the bad news today on Jaden Higgins, the ACL, torn ACL for Jaden Higgins, out for the year. And then we have Tyler Warren exiting practice today early. So fingers crossed on Tyler Warren that it's not serious. And then I'll do 3 reviews. We're going to do my team, Hartman's team. He had the mess up, so I don't know. It's up to him if he wants us to review it. It kind of, didn't go as planned with that Higgins click. I think he's working or something. And then Ruben Zoo, who I always like to look at his teams. Could also go Booty here because we have 2 pieces of that team. Okay, Hartman says skip it. I figured you were working. I know you usually work and then try to draft at night. So we'll look at mine and Ruben Zoo's and see how those teams panned out. I think without that that Higgins pick, though, your team was looking really good. All right, so it's either Noel or Booty. I have the stack with Noel, so let's just lean into this stack. Noel is obviously going to get some more playing time. How much? I don't know. But with the Higgins injury, I'm going to start clicking him more in that, like the 18th round. We'll see if he moves up even further. But right now, I think that this 18th round click on Noel is pretty warranted. We go 3, 6, 7, 2, 0 RB build for this one. And it goes something like this. Caleb Williams, Tyler Shuck, CJ Stroud as our quarterbacks. I feel like that's a solid 3. Maybe you could get away with just Williams and Shuck, but I opt for the 3rd. I like that. A little extra insurance there. Running backs. First running back on this build is Pollard. Pollard, Harvey, Chuba, White, Marks, and Lloyd. I'll say it one more time. I think this should have been Dobbins. If this was Pollard, Dobbins, Chuba, White, Marks, and Lloyd, I would like this team even more. But I kind of messed up there. I think that was a mistake on a 0 RB build. I like the 1-2 grinders more. Early production. We'll see. Maybe it works out okay, but thinking I would have preferred the switch there. Wide receivers, we go Puka, Nico, Rice, JMO as kind of our 4 in the first 5 rounds to make this a 0 RB build. And then we add on Omar Cooper, who falls 30 picks past ADP, Calvin Ridley. And I know he's falling in price, so, I get it. He's not he's probably more in this range, but I still like it. He's a first-round wide receiver, and hopefully some back half production for him if it's taken him a little while to get it going. Calvin Ridley, and then we take Jalen Knoll for the stack on the Higgins news. Come back here at tight end, we go Colston Loveland and Hunter Henry. Stop at 2. We have our elite in the onesie here, and then we come back and get a 20 pick fall on Hunter Henry, who correlates to our RJ Harvey piece. So this one feels pretty good. Obviously 0 RB, so these guys have to have roles. They have to hit, but I think, it's looking like all these guys are going to have a role on their respective offense. Hopefully we can get enough points there. And we're relying heavily on these top 4 wide receivers, our elite tight end, and our elite quarterback here in Caleb. So we'll see how this one does. But you can see the roster construction: wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, elite tight end, wide receiver. Come back and get Pollard, get the stack with Williams, running back, running back, running back. Get your second quarterback, running back. Get your third quarterback, running back. And then come back and finish it up. Henry, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. That's kind of how I like to do it if I'm going to go 0 RB. Obviously, it doesn't always look like that, but that's kind of how it, you kind of paint it on those 0 RB builds. And then let's look at Ruben Zoo real quick. I'm in rooms with him. He's a good drafter. Curious what he put together here. He goes Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, and Brock Purdy. So 3 really early quarterbacks. Daniels at 72, Mahomes at 96, and Purdy at 97. His running backs are Gibbs and Monty, so he's 2 early, and then he comes back and attacks it late. Sampson, Kamara, and Singleton. So big gap there. 2 by 50. Obviously, he's got the top dog in Gibbs. Comes back and gets Sampson, who I love. Kamara, I guess he's taken the slide on Kamara here at 192, and then Singleton. So, for as late as he comes back, that actually feels pretty good. Wide receivers, he goes Olave, Smith, Evans, DK, Romeo, Keenan Allen. He pulls Keenan Allen way up here to 168. That's interesting. And then Jeremy Bernard. Tight ends, Kincaid, Goddard, and Jawan. In terms of his stacks, I don't see any stacks, actually. Unless I'm missing something here. He does have correlation. Oh, he does have 1 stack. Okay, he goes Purdy to Mike Evans, and then he brings it back here with Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. He has, he's just into a couple offenses, but he's not really overstacking or doing anything with the other guys. So kind of interesting. It looks like a solid team, though. I mean, if you just look at the guys in each room, Kincaid, Goddard, Jawan, that feels really strong. Olave, Smith, Evans, Metcalf, Dobbs, Keenan Allen, Bernard. I mean, definitely feel good about the top 5. Keenan gets a role on that Indy offense, and then we hear about the Warren injury, and then takes an upside swing here. Consolidates a little bit into Pittsburgh. He's also consolidating into New Orleans and Philly. 2 strong up top here. Kind of high upside swing here with Sampson late, Kamara on the mega fall, Singleton late, and then mega strong quarterback room. So it feels like a good team, not overly correlated. 1 game stack with San Francisco and Philly, but yeah, overall I think it's a good team. Oh damn! So quick update here on Hartman. He does end up passing on Puka for Henry, but he gets St. Brown back at 18 in the second. So that's like, that works out perfect. Yeah, so now you get Henry in a non-PPR format, and then you get Puka, who's just a smash in the second round. So I think that works out super well for you. So yeah, we had 4 builds today, guys. Appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't hit the like, help me out, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. We'll be back on again soon. 2 BBMs in the books, 1 against the GOAT, BBM 1 winner, Justin Herzig. Check that one out if you didn't see it. That was the second build of the first 2 where we opened with 2 BBMs. And then we wrap it up with 2 Basset Hounds here. We go, and on the last one, we do kind of like a more extreme 0 RB build. So lots of different things to look at from a draft construction, roster construction perspective. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I had fun hanging out with you. Appreciate you tuning in. Come back for the next episode. We'll be back on again soon. Until then, be good, be safe. Peace.